Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webisode of my story. I was just talking about how magical the birth of my third daughter was, and how awesome it was that her father was able to be there even though he had been away at war. He got to come home 2 weeks early on leave, and it was also miraculous because the day that she was born, their Humvee got attacked and a bullet went through and hit the location where he had been sitting. But the guy that was his replacement was a smaller guy, and that guy was sitting with his head on the back of the seat. So if my husband had been in that place, my husband was bigger and had no choice and would have been sitting back like this, the bullet would have hit him in the forehead. But that guy, it went over his head and it hit the back of the seat. And whenever my husband got back, the spot that he had to ride in the Humvee had the bullet hole right behind him. So it's really interesting. We saw that as like just a miraculous event. You know, I mean, life is miraculous. It can be. So we thought that that was really, really neat. And my baby girl, she was the best. She pretty much never cried. She was so happy to just be there. And I bonded with her immediately. My husband bonded with her. At the hospital, it was funny because they have to continually tell the soldiers, do not shake the baby. Do not shake the baby. You guys, I've got a cat over here wanting some more treats, but she's had enough. She's trying to get into the bag. But yeah, they were constantly telling him, do not shake the baby, and we made a huge joke out of it, and we joked about it pretty much her whole life about it. Bless her heart. But we got to go home from the hospital because everything was going really, really good. And we put the baby into the car seat and we began to head home. And we just have, our home is just like 2 blocks away from the hospital. It's not very far. So we get in the car and begin to drive, and she cries. The most high pitched squeal scream I've ever heard. This girl cried the whole way home. She was such a happy baby. So happy unless you put her in the car, and then she would freak out. And this started from day one. I mean, not day one because we stayed in the hospital day one, but day 2. She did not like riding in the car. So that was a little crazy, especially for the lifestyle that I live. My other 2 loved it. One thing that was really cool about my toddler was she would never get lost. If we went there, she knew how to get home. There were times whenever I was like, which way, Lily? And she'd be like, right, left, right. And then we'd be home. I'd be like, cool. So it was like, it's been her superpower her whole life, my oldest daughter. But yeah, so at this point, I've got 3 daughters, and I come home, and my mom, she leaves from after babysitting, and yeah, it was amazing. We were in this big, beautiful house, and we had this baby, and I had my husband. I was like, you need to change your diaper at least once so you can say that you did that. And yeah, I don't know. I felt really, really, really blessed. And then, of course, he had to leave and go back. And he started his 15-month tour in December. So that means he wasn't going to come home from the tour until March of the next year. But this was March of this year, so he got to be home for, well, it wasn't March, it was April. He got to be home for 2 weeks in April, and then he wasn't going to be home until March. And I was actually finishing up classes and courses. I could have done a summer course, but I decided not to. And so I just wanted to focus on my brand new baby and my kids and just stay at home. And I was so blessed to be able to do that. And I really did soak in this time of my life. I look back at it and I'm so grateful that I had this time with my kids when they were so young. But that summer, I had them all three, and it was exhausting. There was a time where I went to Walmart. We had to get groceries. We didn't have anything else, and I mean, it's just that I didn't know how to go with all three. It felt overwhelming. But I went to Walmart one time, and my toddler was just acting up, and my young baby was just feeding off of her and, giggling, and then I had people looking at me, the way people look, I don't know if y'all know, but if you're a mom, people look at you like you should be able to control your children 100%, and what that does is it creates a stress on the mother that ends up hurting the child. I know that y'all don't understand that, but I do. And I was just like, because it makes me want put yourself in order, because I'm supposed to be able to control you 100%, but I can't, because you can't, because they're humans. And I didn't like how it felt. I didn't like how it felt, so I was like, I've got to find a way to do this. And it's just like, bing, light bulb moment goes off. I realize that Walmart's a 24-hour place, and I can literally get my kid, like, I don't have anything to do except for raise these kids. So I can get them up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and we can go to Walmart with nobody there, and they can act up all that they want. And it's not a big deal. And so that's kind of my parenting style. It's not that they can act up all that they want. I did have to learn certain techniques and stuff. Like, because it's not like you can just grab whatever you want and act up. I had to definitely have to keep them in order. But I felt more secure in doing that. And my kids say they remember getting up early in the morning to go shopping. I did that for years. For years, 3 a.m. was our time to get up and go shopping. And I would come home, I would put up the groceries, and we would go to sleep. And I don't know, it was really cool. I had my girls under a very strict bedtime routine, and I try to tell mothers this. Of course, if it doesn't work for you, there's no sense. But because what works for everyone's not going to work for everyone. Just not. But I tell mothers this. You don't have to necessarily have them on a schedule where it's at this time, they do it at this time. But the schedule should be this activity followed by this activity, followed by this activity, followed by this activity. And if you can do 4 or 5 and make the 5th or the 6th activity, go to bed. And just follow those activities strictly. Those activities. And if you can make one of them a water activity, because water activity really tires them at that age, then you can put your kids to bed anytime, anywhere. And that's what I did, and I had that under control their whole life. But, I was really blessed with my first child. She loved to sleep. My middle child, not so much. My third child is just a beautiful, happy soul. But, so I was really blessed. But our bedtime routine was, first we would do the bath time. There would be bath time, and I let them really, really, really play. Really go at it. because I can clean it up later, and I really let them get out a lot of that energy and stuff because water play is so good. And then after bath time, I would always give them some lavender lotion and stuff, and brush their hair, put on their pajamas, and then we read a book. So, well, I would call bath time, massage time, like with lotion. Like, I want to be careful saying that because it's not like anything bad. I would let them do their lotions and stuff too. But, and get ready with pajamas. So, bath, massage, story. So, that's 3 activities right there. And then, lay down. But a lot of times too, like right before bath time, we would just be like relaxing in the living room, and so many times I would just lay down on the couch and let these girls, they would just be running back and forth. And I just let them, and they were having so much fun and just laughing. I would just soak it up. I loved those days. But at the same exact time, when my baby girl, my youngest daughter, was 3 months old, my other 2 I breastfed for like the first year. For my first one, 10 months. My second one was 12 months. She didn't want to wean. And others have breastfed longer, but my third one at 3 months, I just noticed she started getting crankier and crankier, and we had a well checkup, and they were like, I don't think you're creating milk anymore. And I was, but barely any. And so we had to start supplementing. And then I just dried up. And they said it's because of stress. And I was getting very depressed too. And even though I look back, it was like such happy times, and it's before you made all your F-ups that make you hate yourself so bad, Misty. It's not that bad, but postpartum depression is real, and it's not something that you can control. And doesn't make you a bad person. There was a lot. My husband was at war. I had 3 kids. I wasn't sure how I could handle it. And I had them 24/7, and postpartum depression is real, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I realized whenever I dried up that I had postpartum depression, and that was a part of why I dried up. And it did make me more depressed because I felt like I can't give to this baby the nutrition that she needs as long as she needs it. I felt like she needed it like the other 2, and so it was a really tough time. But I'm so, so thankful because DHS in that state really stepped up, and I had someone that would come out to my house twice a week. She would come and she would help me with the kids and talk to me. And I mean, she was just a friend, and I enjoyed her. I looked forward to her visits. And my babysitter, who she realized that I'm not in college or anything no more, but she's like, why don't we work out a deal where I can take the girls 1 day a week, and then you can come help me out 1 day a week. So you work for me for 1 day so that you get a day off, and that kind of gives you 2 days off, because, well, kind of, but, and I was so honored, and I was like, yes, that is so wonderful. And so, yeah, I got to work with her. I felt supported, and I don't know that that's strange, supported by state welfare, I guess, but I was, and I was thankful for it, and they helped me. They helped me a lot. There was no reason for my babysitter to step up like that. And, the Head Start, she was a Head Start teacher, and there was no reason, I guess, the DHS lady, that was her job, but she would come out twice a week. And I mean, it does look bad because it'll be brought up against me later, but, because, while we were there, Zach, like just shows up and is like, hey, I'm here. And it freaked me out. It scared me so bad. I didn't know what to do. I know that I'm easily spooked, and maybe there's no reason for me to get scared, but it freaked me out that he just showed up on my doorstep and was like, hey, I'm here. And I call my mom and I'm like, what do I do? And she's just like, you do not let him see them girls unless he takes you to court. Like, you've got to have actual court document telling that you want court documentation, because you want it all to be legal beagle telling that. And so I told him that, and I loaded my kids up in the car because I was scared. I mean, I locked up the house. I didn't care about the house or anything in it, but because I had my kids, and I loaded them up in the car. And my husband had introduced me to another Army wife who lived on post, and I felt safer on post. And I asked her if I could come stay with her, and she's just like, yes. She's got multiple kids. I got multiple kids, and so I just felt safer because you have to go through the gates, and I knew that Zach wouldn't be able to go through those gates. I don't know why. Looking back, I'm like, why were you so scared? It scared me the way that he did it. You know, he could have called first and let me know. We could have discussed it. He just shows up on my doorstep and he's just like, what is going on? And the advice that I was given was, don't let him see the kids unless he goes to court. And so that's what I told him. I was like, we're going to have to go to court. And he was just like, really? Really? I was like, yeah, really. And I loaded up the kids and I went on post. So I ended up staying on post. So, crazy times, I guess. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching another webisode of my story. I'm so honored that you guys are here and that you are interested in my story. So, thank you guys. And as always, I pray that you are blessed with love. That's all she got.